Hey guys, and welcome to the Working Money channel. So I saw this yesterday on Twitter from @MatthewLINY, and this regarding Italian banks and testing reconciliation blockchain with a year's transactions via R3 Corda. So this article from ledgerinsights.com, and essentially the Italian Bankers Association has made the latest step in preparation for the launch of its Spunta reconciliation blockchain. The platform, which aims to automate the reconciliation of interbank accounts, has been successfully tested with a year's worth of transactions for 200 banks. So 35 nodes or servers were involved in the test that supported uploading 200 million pieces of data and allowed the response times to be tested. And so guys, this project is coordinated by ABI Labs. So ABI Labs is assisted by SIA, the major networking company that supports large parts of SEPA and NTT data, which has developed the application. R3's Corda technology underpins the platform. So they will be using R3's Corda technology. And guys, as we know, R3 will be settling with XRP for real-time payments. So the solution aims to go into production on March 1st next year. So the distributed ledger technology network enables full visibility into transactions in which both banks participate. As a result of standardization and automation, interbank reconciliations will be completed daily as opposed to the current monthly position at the moment the process is carried out by back office staff. Moving into the future, folks, with cryptocurrency and blockchain technology, using R3 Corda technology that will underpin this Italian banker platform, it sounds as though everything is moving in the right direction. Now, I also saw this from Heisenberg, and this announced yesterday as well. Coinfield introduces Solagenic. Now, we heard that Coinfield was introducing something big with regards to the XRP ledger, and this is exactly what it is. So Solagenic built on XRP ledger to issue stock and fiat-backed stablecoins. So the first step towards tokenizing stock and fiat on demand, guys, and it is being built on the XRP ledger. I remember a few weeks ago, hearing about this from Coinfield. Coinfield is one of the biggest exchanges in Canada, and they were gearing up. They were stewing up something that had to do with the XRP ledger, and they were kind of teasing us with this logo here, this backward S. So guys, this is it. Solagenic, built on the XRP ledger, and the tokenized economy is slowly being built before our eyes. I don't want to dwell on this too much. I want to talk a little bit about Bitcoin as well, and the fact that now there are people in the space who are getting a little bit worried about Bitcoin and Bitcoin price. So the question I have for you guys is, aren't you glad you're holding your XRP? Because look at where Bitcoin's going. So this from Cointelegraph, and this was an interview with Andreas Antonopoulos, who's essentially a Bitcoin maximalist. So this has to do with Google's quantum supremacy, and Antonopoulos is stating that it will have no impact on Bitcoin. So speaking as part of a Q&A session on October 10th, Andreas Antonopoulos poured cold water on fears that Google's recent quantum computing success could impact cryptocurrencies such as Bitcoin. What is the effect on mining and the cryptocurrency world in general? And he says absolutely nothing. But here's the thing, guys. Google has recently created quantum computing. And so what this does is essentially a quantum computer can perform a task which a regular machine would take tens of thousands of years to complete. So this is described as quantum supremacy. The event sparked immediate concerns about public blockchain. So people are now worried. People are starting to worry about blockchain technology, and is this already kind of out of date? Is it already obsolete because of Google's quantum computing? So misunderstandings spark crypto concerns. Of course, Antonopoulos, however, said that these were unfounded concerns. Quantum supremacy, what Google described, is demonstrating the practical applicability of quantum computers to certain classes of problems, he explained. Those classes of problems are not the same classes of problems we're talking about when we talk about breaking cryptography. So he is stating here that, this kind of tech will not be able to break cryptography. This is a completely different thing that we're focused on here. But what I found interesting, though, is with regards to proof of work. Okay, what he's talking about is breaking cryptography and breaking the cryptological code, I suppose, to, print more Bitcoin out of thin air or whatever. What I found interesting, though, is when we hear about quantum computing and what the definition is of quantum computing, these computers can complete a task in which a regular machine could take tens of thousands of years to complete. So what would this mean for mining Bitcoin? Think about that for a second, guys. Right now, there is a process to mine Bitcoin, and this is part of the problem with the proof of work. Well, now if there are these quantum computers, think of how much more quickly and how much less energy it will take to mine Bitcoin. And so this gives whoever has one of these quantum machines an edge, I would imagine. I don't know, maybe I'm oversimplifying it a bit. But despite what Andreas Antonopoulos says, I do think that this could have an impact on those particular cryptocurrencies that are proof of work cryptocurrencies, namely Litecoin, Bitcoin. There are a handful of others, obviously. Okay, so there's that. Then I stumbled upon this article here, and it just makes me feel happy that I'm holding XRP. And, despite the fact that I do hold Bitcoin, I hold some Bitcoin, of course. I do believe that the future really is with Ripple, the company, and XRP, the cryptocurrency. So this here, 2 Bitcoin developers explain how the cryptocurrency could still fail, namely Bitcoin. So a couple of guys were asked here. They talk about price predictions. I'm just going to browse over this, guys. I will link the article in the description for those of you who want to read the full thing. So a couple of these guys were interviewed, Cory Fields and Greg Maxwell, and they are, they're techie guys. They understand Bitcoin on that level. One of them was asked about 51% attack. So we all know about 51% attacks, and the one guy saying, they're made out to be a bigger problem than they actually are. 51% attacks aren't as likely to occur as one may think, especially somebody, who might just be new to the cryptocurrency space, who might just be hearing this for the first time. Okay, there's a lot involved with 51% attacks, and we've all heard it before from China. China could take over 51% of the Bitcoin blockchain and essentially control Bitcoin. So there's that whole idea of making something that is essentially decentralized and making it centralized based on taking 51% control of it. But then there's another problem down here, introducing a new bug. So like Maxwell, Fields does not view a 51% attack as the most likely way in which the Bitcoin experiment could fail. So again, guys, we're talking about Bitcoin and continuing to liken it to this experiment that has been ongoing for about 10 years, well now 11 years. My answer though is that the most likely sudden death scenario for a cryptocurrency like Bitcoin is an accidental bug that gets introduced internally into the system. So Fields said during his talk at the 2019 MIT Media Lab Crypto Economic Systems Summit. So Fields' concerns are also not theoretical, seeing as critical bugs have been found in these sorts of systems in the past. There was a Bitcoin Cash bug that I found and disclosed, and it kicked off a discussion about responsible disclosure in these systems and how to do it generally, said Fields during his talk. I was a little smug for a few months until we were affected by a similar bug in Bitcoin Core, which potentially would allow for, get this guys, money printing out of thin air. A potential Bitcoin bug that could realistically produce more Bitcoin out of thin air. That sounds scary, especially if you have a lot of money invested in something like Bitcoin. And this is why I tell you guys, XRP is something special. Satoshi created Bitcoin at a time when we were in a very different socio-political and economic state in the world, in the United States in particular. The economy was collapsing and banks were failing. Bailouts were occurring in the system, and many people just kind of threw their hands up and said, I don't trust this system anymore. There's got to be a better way. Satoshi Nakamoto obviously came out with Bitcoin at this time as a decentralized currency that could change the world now. The technology was good for what it was at the time, and a lot of people are suggesting that Satoshi never intended for Bitcoin to be able to scale on this global level that people today, 10, 11 years down the road, are starting to think it should scale to. And so now enter the creators of XRP. Brad Garlinghouse has also gone on the record himself saying, XRP is essentially a Bitcoin 2.0. The creators of XRP were originally programmers, who dabbled in Bitcoin at the beginning in those early years for Bitcoin. So they understood Bitcoin from that fundamental perspective, and then they created XRP to essentially be a better Bitcoin. And this is why most of my investment is in XRP. I do still hold Bitcoin, but ultimately, guys, this is still an experiment. Nobody runs Bitcoin. With XRP, at least we know there's an ecosystem. We know it was engineered as a response to Bitcoin's follies. And so me personally, I have more confidence in something like XRP, but that's not to say that this is financial advice, not by any means, but it is certainly something one must think about when investing in cryptocurrencies. Now, I also saw this, and this has to do with the fact that the dark web still picks Bitcoin over other currencies, something that guys like Brad Garlinghouse are probably rolling their eyes at because they're likely thinking, oh God, does this really still have to be in the news? The fact that cryptocurrencies are being used for illicit purposes, well, despite the fact that there are many privacy coins, Bitcoin is still the number one. And so, possibly another strike against them. Bitcoin named as currency of the dark web. So in this latest report, the Internet Organized Crime Threat Assessment 2019, darknet criminals prefer to transact in Bitcoin even though using privacy-focused coins such as Monero may bring more security. The report cites that although the recent months have witnessed a noticeable shift from Bitcoin to privacy-oriented currencies, a large portion of the dark web still needs Bitcoin as the fuel to keep itself running. And guys, this is because Bitcoin is king at the moment. It is number one. It is the cryptocurrency that started it all. And, it has been around the longest. It is still the one that has the most volume running through it. So, of course, it is going to be the one most used on the dark web. That doesn't surprise me. But it does worry me a little bit, especially, in this day and age when we're trying to get away from that dark web association with cryptocurrencies, right? Then you have articles like this coming out, essentially bringing it back in our faces. That's fine, and it's okay, because those compliant cryptocurrencies will be the ones that ultimately thrive in the future. Buying an XRP at 27, 28, 24, 26, whatever it is at the moment is a really, really, really good deal for an investment of something that will gain value in the future based on the ecosystem that is being built around it. And I believe that Dave Jones, that's at Dave_Jones with a Z_02, agrees with that sentiment. Before I get to this, though, I just wanted to give LexCoins at LexDollars on Twitter some credit for posting this article here regarding the Bitcoin being used over other cryptocurrencies on the dark web. Sorry, forgot to mention that, but let's get back to Dave Jones. He says, as expected, ODL is becoming a strong, unique selling point for Ripple. On-demand liquidity, folks. Drive liquidity onto your exchange by hooking it up to ODL and let it process orders automatically for you. So this with regards to this tweet from XRP Research Center this morning. The XRP Mexican trading pair at Bitso accounted for almost 70% of the total liquidity processed by the Mexican exchange. Amazing. Just amazing, and you guys can see it up here, volume at 69.81%, XRP to Mexican peso. Going through the exchange, the official exchange for that corridor, Ripple's partner, Bitso, doing this. We talked yesterday about Bitso moving into Latin America, so they are expanding as well. This is all great, and guys, I know I'm jumping back and forth here. A little XRP, a little Bitcoin. Why I think XRP is essentially the stronger investment. I always tell people, this is financial advice. I'm not telling you guys, but that I do tell people in my private life. If you're interested in cryptocurrency, put 75% into XRP, 25% into Bitcoin. The 25% into Bitcoin just because it is that rock, it is the first, it has historically been the first to move, and you'll likely see gains faster with Bitcoin. Okay, that hasn't been the case as of late, but historically that is generally the case. 75% into XRP because it's at a really great price point. The team behind XRP is doing amazing things, and you're more likely to accumulate more wealth with XRP, but chances are it'll take a longer time. This is just what I tell people in my personal life. I'm not a financial advisor. Anyway, enough of that. Sorry, I'm getting off track today. Back to Bitcoin, and this actually scared me the most. Did you guys see this? So DM Logic, I'm the debate on Twitter, posted this video from Elijah Boom, that's at Elijah Boom on Twitter. Dan Pena thinks he knows who's behind Bitcoin, and if you listen to this guy, you will never be more convinced. Okay, so Dan Pena, just to give you guys some background, was the founder and is the chairman of the Guthrie Group, an investment consortium incorporated in Jersey in 2002. He also founded a company called iZone and iHub, so he's a millionaire investor. Founded the Guthrie Group, just to put some things into perspective, but let me play you guys this clip here.
But we have no investments. Everything's cash. None.
Why no Bitcoins and why no cryptocurrency?
Well, Bitcoins I called the top of the market in December 2017 when it was $19,600, I said, if you have Bitcoin, sell half, keep half. This is the top. Nobody listened to me. If you knew who was really behind Bitcoin, you would run as fast as you could to sell it. I know. 100%.
With conviction.
If you knew who owned Bitcoin or who started Bitcoin, and you had Bitcoin, you couldn't sleep at night. I know. 100%.
With conviction.
And when the real founder of Bitcoin comes out, it is my humble opinion, and there's nothing humble about me, Bitcoin will go to zero.
One day.
And a microsecond, like that.
Then last question.
And, as I said, you know who's behind Bitcoin? Putin. It's a Ruski conspiracy to up the American economy and the world. It's a long-range plan he started 7-8 years ago. He's going to see the demise of the Western financial world while he's still the head of Russia. He's going to be there long enough. And he's already hacked into the brains of all the morons. You, YouTubers.
Wow. All I can say is wow. Can you guys believe that? Now, I don't know if Dan Pena is full of BS or not. I don't know. I find these things and I report them to you guys because I find them interesting. But who knows? I mean, nobody knows who Satoshi Nakamoto is. Could Putin be behind Bitcoin? Could it be that Bitcoin goes to zero? And could that propel the cryptocurrency revolution with XRP at the helm? I don't know, but I want to hear what you guys think. Please subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Like the video if you like the content I'm providing. I always love hearing your comments. See you in the next one, guys.